Tomato juice.
We're back.
We're
Your
back.
camera's not on, Will.
Oh, good.
It's good. He didn't want to be seen.
Yeah.
We were chatting about what our characters' motivations were, and thought that, hey, this is needed to happen.
Yeah, go ahead and
On
say
the
what you
stream.
were saying, Ken, about the
I
chain
don't-
of command.
Oh yeah, chain of command. Well, I always worry about we're back live. This is DreadLore After Hours, and we are discussing Into Space. We're all here, Drizzle, Bill, and myself. We were talking about chain of command, and I had said, or I think that Dolby's character is always kind of put on the spot because he's got the rank, and it's difficult for. He's not a smart person, and he's not good at leadership, and it's weird how he has rank, but so he pulls Drizzle's character in, and Drizzle, you were saying something really interesting. And
Well,
I totally
because and see, my thing is my character is, I mean, my motto is yes, sir, because he has learned that to follow rank, because there's so many, like, he had a higher rank and messed up and got knocked down, and so like he's trying to be more just follow what is told to him. And so like when he, like, I know that as a player it's hard for Ken to always be in control. My guy would be the guy who would wait. So then like to help alleviate that, I've been trying to, like, that's why my guy's like, excuse me sir, can I say this, and then says the stuff, because it is him trying to help but not overstep his rank.
Well, that's definitely the joy of living in a fastest society.
Yeah.
As well. You know, there's such an interesting power structure, and so the character, Dolby's character, is so indoctrinated that he's decided, I think, a little bit to start giving people promotions, even though he doesn't have that ability to promote people.
Yeah.
And I think that gives each of the characters. I wanted to promote Hulker's character a little bit, but he was throwing boxes, and that's just.
Well, that was I figured that because if I'm standing right beside him when he's throwing boxes, then I can't play the trump card of trying to get him to calm down. So that's where I was like, I wandered off the way, and then, I'll take care of this. I'm sorry about him.
That was a good move.
Yeah.
I thought he was just gonna get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because because if I'm standing right beside him, then I'm a accomplice to it as well. If I had, that's why I ventured over to the other side of the hallway to try and be like, so that way if something did happen, I could help alleviate the situation.
You guys keep talking. Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
I thought Dolby's order was relatively clear, and it was to search.
Yeah.
To pretend like it was a drill, and I guess none of our characters are really smart enough. That's a level of subterfuge that we can't manage. It was just daily, it was supposed to be like a daily drill, and find this person.
Yeah.
I don't know how clear. I mean, he's a bit of an alcoholic, so he's probably about as clear as mud. Getting orders from Dolby. You still have. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was gonna say because Will was about to hit something with a.
Yeah, no, the mosquitoes are back.
No,
yeah, I was sitting here listening to you, and a mosquito went, and I was like, really?
What does what does your character Drizzle? What does he think of Dolby's management style?
He doesn't question it because he tries not to question anything openly. So I know that you wouldn't let us just die because of the one mission we went on. So that's the most important. That the only time he openly questions is if he feels that they're being thrown into something that would end in all their deaths.
You are.
I feel like that
Also,
is
not as bad as you
the
were.
purpose of who our characters are, and that we only
Yeah.
stumble and accidentally find things. I thought you did a great job of discovering and kind of going down that path of finding out who this woman was.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
that was
as we've been in crowds that have been messed up before. So, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
can I ask what was the thing about the roll, or is that going to give too much away? Because I was just making the joke that you're the arbiter and you would roll the die to see who died. But
yeah,
then you were like, "You're onto something," and I was like, "Oh, I
can.
was just making another joke."
There's the implication that, whether it's true or not, there's the implication that, as you have experienced before, cryobeds sometimes just fail.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes people just have heart attacks. That's a thing. However, or systems go down. However, now there's the idea that maybe there's sabotage, and the obvious question is, why would someone sabotage things in such a way? Which so you get into a little bit of conspiracy theory. The conclusion, or the line of thinking that I thought you were going on, was in the first game you guys played, the Whisper base with the AI, where you went down to the planet that was all full of argon,
Right, yeah.
and the lightning, was the gunnery sergeant just out of nowhere died.
Right.
And it's not the first time that, like, you had heard of that happening, and then to literally see someone setting it up, the sabotage, for that to go down. And then the metagame of you being like, oh, it's a roll of dice, which was, I got the joke. But is this idea of, are you drawing the conclusion? And that
conclusion.
that clue is there. Like, this is an episodic game. So what happened in the past did happen.
Right.
And I was wondering if you guys would think about it and be like, wait a minute, was that sabotage? Or was it an accident?
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
I'm essentially heavily hinting at it was sabotage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
it's
clearly sabotage at this point. I mean, that's why Dolby was like, gear up, we're gonna go hunting.
Well, if you remember too, although it may not have been explicit because this game didn't exist when we ran that game, but the staging point for the Whisper base was around where you are.
Oh, okay.
Because you're in Neptune, you're at Neptune Station, and Neptune is essentially the last planet in the Solar System. Save for planetoids like Pluto, or there's a couple large asteroids, which there's stations too, but they're pretty far out. So Neptune's a pretty big deal. And in Whisper Base, you guys took a gravity, I think it was a Mark V gravity drive, like one of those 2 or 3 use tunnelers that goes to where you went.
Yeah, well, and for one, the person who sabotaged, the magistrate now that we just found out, they're not going to know who's getting in which cryobed.
Right. So
So
there's a
it
question of
is like,
also why would she do it herself? I mean, there should be a lot of questions. Um, part of this is we've been running a investigation game for a while, so I'm kind of inspired by it.
huh,
But two, like I said, this game was not created at that time, right? So it's not a retcon of what happened, but it's definitely a tie-in,
right.
right? So this is like a sequel, and it's like, oh, I could use that, and it would make sense in canon for that to be happening, and it's
I do
in
think
line of what's up.
I do think that, mm, as far as I know, most of the more intellectual characters that we've played with in Into Space, the geekier, nerdier, smarter ones, were not here uh, this time. So
That's
it
great
seems
though.
like we've got the brutes
When you think about it,
um,
though, like for
teamed
example,
up
when you watch
together.
Aliens,
Mhm.
no one's a scientist, not really.
Yeah, yeah,
Not in the second one. I mean, the smartest person arguably is Ripley, and it's not that she's necessarily the smartest, she's just the most savvy. She's got the most common sense, and so she's very capable. But their lieutenant is dog shit, and, they're just a bunch of Marines,
yeah.
you know?
That's true.
Like, a
And they're
couple of
just
them are, like, smart and canny, but none of them are really smart.
because like my mind is 2 and my wits are 3. So
It
I
means your
was
average
trying to do,
intelligence.
yeah.
Your average intelligence. Yeah,
yeah.
2 means your average, it means the lower part of average, but that's like an IQ of, like, 100. You're not dumb. You're not dumb at
Oh,
all.
Uh,
Now,
well,
if you have a 1, that means that you are. You are
yeah.
dumb.
I think my mind and wits are 3, so
You
he's
could play it
of
like you got, like, an IQ of, like, 90, but it's
he's
still average.
yeah,
It's
he's got I
low end.
mean, he's lived this long. He's got to be a little bit
What's your
smart.
guys' mind?
3?
Yeah, you're a smart guy. 2 is average to low average. 3 is average to just above. You're smart. 4 means that's when you're actually getting into just to abstract it. That's like a very smart person, and then when you just go above from there.
Hmm.
You can play it kind of how you want. You could play a smart person with a mind of 2. They got a high wits. It's just they're not going to be solving huge math equations.
well, my thing is that like I'm kind of playing him when it comes to military, he's smart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he's done that for so long
Yeah,
that like that's where like he's like tactical. I can tell when somebody's trying to sabotage. I can think about that sort of stuff as opposed to just like you tell me to fly the ship. I'm like that's what the RI is for.
That's what that's
yeah.
what the pilot's for.
Well, and that
Yeah.
that makes sense because like training is like you can train yourself when it comes to IQ. Like IQ is kind of bullshit anyway.
Sure.
Um, if you know how to
Absolutely,
take
it's
the
bullshit.
test, if you have a lot of training, a lot of good school, you can up your IQ score really high. Um, and mind is also it's not just your intelligence, it's also your willpower and your sanity. So that can represent a lot of different things. The resilience, the plasticity of the mind. So if you got a 2, it probably means you're not incredibly creative, right? You're more of a bare bones kind of I see it, I do it, pretty straightforward kind of thing, which fits really, really well. And yet you can have the mental agility of being able to think tactically and strategically and out of the box, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily super creative.
Right.
These are abstract numbers, it's however you want to put it.
And to Dolby, you're a genius because he can trust you, and so that is all he wants at this point. To be surrounded by people he can trust.
No.
And of course they put Brick in there. And
Yeah.
I'm amazed you took Brick in the thing, because I would have thought that, well, I was going to suggest Brick going with me because I'm the only one she doesn't have any animosity, or there's no animosity between the two of us, as opposed to technically the other guys have the history. But you took Brick. But you took Brick for that reason, so Brick wasn't with Burgess.
yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I feel like Brick and Burgess, they would have started blowing up the ship randomly potentially. They would have, or they maybe they would have been fine.
Burgess might be losing it.
Yeah, I feel like that might be true. That might be true, and that's kind of fun.
So I could just pick up some boxes and toss them. I was like,
it was a funny moment, and it happens. Sometimes you just step off a little bit. I mean, I think that we're all of the soldiers on that station are probably right at that edge.
oh yeah.
A spaceship blew up, and we were like, somebody sabotaged our cryo thing. I guess we're gonna.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, like, because I was like, well, there's going to be some time before you know anything, and also, the fallout, it being known, but the hilarity of it explodes. These two guys who were lovers realize the one didn't die, and they're processing all this shit, but they have to keep doing their jobs, and you guys are like, all right, well, anyway, just gotta keep on going.
All right. Hey, somebody came running on my ship after another one exploded. I came out with a knife after him.
No, you did.
Yeah, because I was like, it's maybe somebody trying to plant a bomb or something.
I think we're pretty much in character, and Burgess, he's the newest one to all this. This is all new stuff for him. Is he from Earth Prime?
I believe so.
Yeah, and so like even there, it's like somebody from Earth doesn't have the background that somebody from Mars, or we've lived at this heightened state of we have had filtered air our entire lives. I mean, I think Dolby went to Earth once to get reprogrammed,
Yeah.
And that was it. So it's a he's gonna be the cut up, and the same with Andrea's character last time. She was a part that was just a wrench in the system that I just didn't see coming.
Well, I don't know if she really saw it coming. I think she knew it was the end of the session, so she was like, "Fuck it,"
went for it. But I mean, I thought it was a brilliant ending. It was a brilliant ending.
Yeah, for anyone listening, basically she just turncloaked and was like, "Oh, ha 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 ha! This entire time I've just been trying to get back for Mars, and she started trying to fuck up the mission."
Yeah, and she went for it. I mean, it was like 4 successes, and then I think he had to do 5 successes, and like he withdrew breath to go to limbo.
Yeah.
And there was a failure where she was sailing through the ship, getting ready to hit the button, and it gets cut in half by this laser sword, electric sword that's just floating in the air. Whatever. She had a lot less hit points than I was expecting. But she was also much smarter than. She had her interests in other areas. She was not a Marine.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing too in this game, because you're like, it's a continuation. I was like, fuck, that means I have a shit ton of flaws, because I picked up a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I'm full on flaws. and that's why I bid the flaws all the time, and I think
Well,
that's a
bid the
fun
flaws.
part about this.
The only issue with flaws is, if you have a bunch, let me know because I can bid them.
I
But
know.
also, if you fail on them, so if you bid a flaw and you throw down, if it fails, that is an utter failure. So that's the part about a flaw. Otherwise, it's just a normal trait.
Yeah, because I have 5.
That's pretty good.
Because started with 2, and then I picked up 3 in that one game.
Yeah. Why
I
went
have
down?
8. I have 8 flaws.
The real thing is, how many derangements do you have? Because flaws are just kind of whatever. Derangements, that's when you start getting actually crazy.
I don't think any of us have any trouble with derangements.
I don't have a derangement, but I had to pick what category derangement I'd have.
Yeah.
So I got that first thing. It's not a derangement yet, but it's
you'll get there.
Tick of the tick of starting to have one.
You'll get there. Ember says that she's been listening the entire time, just hanging out.
Nice.
Oh, I forgot because I shut it down, so I don't have it open anymore.
That's all good. Well, I think this was a pretty good success. 3 people was really nice. I think Into Space might be a good game to have a guest star.
I think so too. I mean, it's a little, I mean, more lighthearted, and like chaos of the game is much higher, and I think we all expect to die at any moment in this more than in the red writ. Because that's our job is to be fodder for the system,
machine.
The machine. Yeah. I think my favorite thing that I said this game was looking at these fascist dictators that have taken over this planet. It's like, oh, they seem like pretty nice guys.
Yeah, it's a very Castro thing, and the theme in this series is kind of the same throughout each one. It's you're given a mission, but more often than not, the mission is not really what you're not really given the right intel, so to speak, or you're not given the truth. I've got a couple ideas for episodes that it is pretty straightforward, and not just such a winding clusterfuck.
Yeah, I can't imagine that when we started tonight, this is the path you expected us to go down.
I had 2 expectations. The first was something along this, like we would really dig into getting into your characters, the relationships, and that's pretty much what we did. And once I realized that, I was like, well, then we're gonna throw in some sort of hooks if you guys want to jump onto those things, like Alice Brick, Alfred. His name is Alfred, not Alfred.
No.
Which doesn't matter. That's a thing that I'm borrowing from Mad Max, where in the future, like, you think the word is what it is, but it's actually been bastardized. So, like, in Furiosa, it's Immortan Joe, not Immortal Joe. Right? Like little things like that. Anyway, so that's the first idea, that you guys would take a long time to get there. And I expected this to be multiple episodes. And then the second one was what some groups do is they'll be like, cool, we get there. All right, we're outside the planet, what happens? And it's more just beelining it to whatever. Either way would have been okay, but I think this is a better way. I think it's more fun when you investigate and know why you're doing what you're doing. But I
That's
just
true.
imagine when people play the Space Marines, sometimes they're just like, let's kick down the door and fuck it up, because the idea is you could play these modules that way and just with your shoe, you know, or you could play it a little more savvy and sleuthy like you guys have been playing it.
Sure. I don't know if sleuthy is the word. I think we were going guns blazing for the commander of the station there at the end. I kind of
At the
presumed
end.
that it was going to be the commander of the station.
Did you?
Kind of. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, who better to like sabotage than, you know, and it maybe it's not really them. Maybe that is a ruse where they have like a body double,
A life
AI.
model decoy.
Yeah, a life model decoy that is. But why would they do that? I mean, that's unlikely.
Ember gets a narrative point, by the way.
Nice.
You don't see what she said. She said, "Wait a minute, all fret, as in the opposite of don't panic."
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Good. I think there was a Hitchhiker's Guide moment that we had at some point in the episode, and I can't remember what it was. But we definitely stumbled in there for a second, I think. So I like all fret. I feel like that's good. That's the Douglas Adams. Douglas of this world.
That's good. That's good. No, where I was going with it, that's beautiful. Which is why Ember gets the narrative point. Where I was going with it started with Alfred, because Batman and Alfred.
Sure.
Huh?
Alfred.
And then I was like, well, Alfred is better, and I like making things an initialization or an acronym. But
sure.
It completely went over my mind as all fret. I love that. That's a perfect coincidence.
That is brilliant. Good job.
Very, very good. Ember.
The yeah, I like Into Space. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me in this, and I, as a player, you know, I definitely worry about, you know, holding on to like controlling the narrative too much, because it's like that's we've talked about this before, but that's one of the things where it's like if you have somebody in command, they're delegating all this stuff, and it's just finding the narrative to the other people in the game. I feel like it weighs a little heavy on that one character to move the plot forward a little bit.
What do you think, Drizzle?
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, is that that's why I started to try to step up when we were talking to the captain or the pilot and stuff.
Yeah.
And when we were talking to Alfred, and so that way it wasn't just all Ken having to shoulder it.
Yeah.
And then there's also like 2 or 3 things that it's all happening at the same time, and it's like, well, I want to do this, and this.
Yeah.
And then we have to slow down and like talk through the first thing.
Yeah.
And then talk through the second thing.
Like real life. Like
real life. I mean, I think that the Red Writ, if we're gonna talk about this stuff, the rhetoric is actually, we were saying real time. I think it's actually slower than real time.
Yeah, we take our time with the Red Writ. With that game, it's very important because it's very important that as players, not that you're picking up on all the clues, but that you're able to pick up on the clues. And the only way that happens is it being recurring, and for you to have enough time to think about it and to investigate, right? Like the Red Writ is not a plotty game. There's a plot, but the interest is how you guys snake through and get there. Whereas I think with Into Space, The plot is more apparent. It's you get the mission, there's some sort of conflict, you get to the mission, you find out the truth, you have the conflict, you deal with the aftermath. Like, it's more of a almost every session is that. And
I was
somewhat.
surprised we didn't actually have a fight this session. Were you expecting to have
it was up in the air. There could have been. So depending on what you did, we spent a lot of time on Apollonia,
yeah.
which I don't know if you remember, but I was like, and we montage. Never mind.
Yeah.
We're not montaging. We're not doing it. And Ken, you like to bid and drop out of the montage immediately when I say it's the montage.
He does. That does happen.
This is the second or third time I'm like, you realize if you do that, you're in the dread.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I want to do it, which is what it's for. That's the
Yeah.
player agency. But I think what isn't highlighted often, and definitely it wasn't highlighted in this game, is the benefit of the dread is the players have lots of agency. You bid a trait, you can kind of say what happens. You throw down, you can kind of make it happen. The benefit of the montage is you're not really in danger. Like, you don't have agency, but you have the inertia of getting to the next plot point. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to get there. We may not like how we get there, but we're going to get there. So the montage is kind of a safer place, but you don't get to say what happens.
Yeah.
I am gonna have to
And you
jump
can be
off
at a
there.
better place. That's cool, man.
So
Thank
see
you for
you
hanging
guys
out.
later. No problem.
Bye.
But
I think it's
I think there's a
important.
comfort to be in the dread to look at the character and say, hey.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the fun part.
Yeah. Oh, I'm bidding this thing. I'm changing the story a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why, we went to a club and danced.
But you see, that's cool. So
dance spot.
There could have been some fighting, but you guys kind of avoided it.
Yeah.
Like, there could have been fighting with Brick, with Alice Brick.
Sure.
I didn't know how you were gonna mess with that. There were a few plot points that you guys didn't latch onto, which could have potentially led to something. I can't really mention them because they're things you didn't touch on.
Sure.
But you got to the space station in Neptune, and you went directly to the freighter, or the gunboat, I should say. You didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
For example, you could have gone directly to the command, and it would have been a different interaction altogether. The thing with Alfred, I didn't know what you guys were going to do, because I played him deliberately like Howl 9000.
A little evil.
Yeah, I don't want you. There's all this angst towards AI. I don't want you to trust him. This is a society that is paranoid, and I really wanted that to be on the top of the mind.
Sure.
And then I wanted it to be on the top of the mind of Dole and Josh. Who's an enemy? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that Dolby's character just kind of trusts. He's a very indoctrinated individual, and so he's going to beeline it. Like, he was given an order. This is what he's supposed to do.
Yep.
It's only magic happenstance that they uncovered a plot. That was not where his brain was at. Like, he was getting ready to be like, let's go, guys. Even though he had suspected that one of the cryogenic pods was gonna fail.
I mean, that's
we're
another
gonna
thing.
Take over a planet.
That's another thing is, like, those cryopods do fail.
Yeah.
It's not. especially when it's old. And I don't know if I described it
Well, there's an old chip
properly.
that you put us in. I mean, they set this up to fail. This is a scenario where, you know, Dolby is intelligent enough to know that, you know, he doesn't have any resources. He's got nothing. There's
You got a crazy
nothing, no
robot
support. A crazy robot, and
with a
he's being
body which you
sent.
have not messed with.
Yeah,
And that's
he's
another
being
thing.
sent.
I wondered what you would do with the robot body, but
Yeah, well, it'll happen or it won't happen.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a whole thing.
It seems like from the way you described it, you said, you know, that's not typical that you want to download it in the robot body.
It's not typical at all. And that's part of the thing too is, you know, I think, and Ember can tell me what she thinks too. As an arbiter or a game master, one of the one of the issues that I come into or come across is you know all the dark, you know all the secrets, and you want it's like telling someone about a show. You want to commiserate over the thing that's going to happen, but you can't. And if you're not careful, you start sort of leading people in the direction of the reveal or pushing, okay, and you're going to have this fight. So
Sure.
to answer the question, there was a point tonight where I was like, you know, they might engage in a fight, but it's got to be a natural thing that should happen, not just you open the door, Tyrannosaurus attack. It's like, what? Where did that come
No, you
from?
got to build the scene. You got to
Yeah,
get to the
yeah.
place where that goes. I mean, we're
And
not.
it just it didn't seem like a natural thing. Next game you'll get into a fight.
Yeah,
Likely,
it seems like we might be in trouble.
maybe.
I you know, there are two things that I project will happen is that um this person is a spy, the one that ordered all the commanding officers to this one location to blow them all up, which is what I think I'm gonna run with at the beginning of next game and like seek out the station commander and take her out. I think that is kind of he is so off his he's so not should not be in charge. Uh and the conspiracies have gotten to him where, you know, he just sees an enemy,
Now you do
you know.
know, or I should say, Dolby does know that if he fucks up bad enough, it will come back on Calabash.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, yep, it's a bad move on her part.
It was
Shouldn't have
like
trusted me.
there's a reason why Dolby is was knocked down and given no power. And he blew up some stuff that he probably shouldn't have blown up. He didn't need to blow it up. There was no reason
It
for
was
that.
so funny. It's unfortunate we didn't get that one on tape. That was a hilarious because it was Nathan was in there
Yeah, it
and
was good.
Lee did
And
really well. Nathan was all over.
they were in the military. I mean, Nathan was a great second in
He
command,
was.
and
He was awesome. But he was a vicious dude, man.
yeah, it's good. It's good. That was
Well,
that was a great time. But
well,
he doesn't know what to think, Dolby. He just kind of rolls with the punches, and he's not gonna assassinate, you know, the station commander. He's that, you know, but his mission is to assassinate or subdue a commander on a planet. So this isn't outside of his normal expertise. If you've he's making up his own orders. I get that for this. That is making up his own order, but it's a little personal, you know. But she's threatened his life, and a threat is a threat, and you don't do that to soldier.
Well, let's call it here since we didn't do our break. I'm tired as fuck, and
Sure.
I think this has been a pretty good deal with Drizzle and with you. I also might podcast some chess tonight. I don't know. I might take a break. Take a break. I've been doing this chess podcast every day, and as Ember is aware, it'd be like 3, 4 in the morning, man, and I'm sitting there like hitting up some chess.
Not me. I'm getting ready to be asleep.
Yeah, sleep is the way.
It's like 1 o'clock East Coast.
What is it? Central, noon or 12?
It's midnight. It's
Yeah.
noon.
Is it noon?
It skips a word a couple hours.
Skips a day.
I enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's a really fun respite. And the next time we do it, I may try to get somebody to jump on too. They want to
Yeah,
jump on board.
let's definitely get some. I'm a huge fan of some guests.
Yeah. So, Ember, if you're interested in jumping in on one of the sessions we do into space, you're welcome to jump in. It's a Discord thing. Lil Gotham as well. We'll probably keep it to 4 players. But if you guys want to do it at some point, that'd be cool. Or if someone else wants to, we'll vet you, of course. Ember and Lil Gotham get a pass, but everybody else has to be vetted.
To space goes.
All right, we're gonna get out. Do we have music for this?
Yeah, I'm not currently playing any music.
Okay. Well,
Do you want some music?
for whatever music, all lowercase letters and Mr. Interrupt. Media production by Couchfire Media. Boom. Leave a review if you're listening to this on the podcast. On Amazon, you can type in DreadLore, LORE, and please leave a review. If you want the book, the DreadLore core book, or the Getting Started guide, or any of that stuff, it's on DriveThruRPG. And we will be podcasting again Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Pay attention to the Instagrams and the Twitters and YouTubes and all that good stuff. Like, subscribe. Do a dance for us. Anything else?
Oh yeah, fast food is.
Oh, indeed. Announcements. Yeah, we've got a couple of short films doing stuff.
So it's at the end of the month.
Is it the 1st?
October 1st, I believe it will be. Bill is starring in a film.
Indeed.
He is the lead actor in a film that got into the 12 Lions Film Festival in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then the next week, I guess, his film that we worked on together, our film, is Double Brothers Double Trouble is playing at the Louisville Independent Film Festival.
It's like being inside of the asshole of an arcade game.
Yeah, it is in a video game.
Yeah, I wrote it and directed. Ken did all the kinds of editing and visual effects and music and made it good. Pacing. And a lot of people, if you're from Kentucky, a lot of people you'll likely know, especially in the gaming community. So yeah, I was pretty excited about that. I don't know what day it'll be. It'll be the 5th, 6th, or 7th. And Ember and anyone else who's actually not in Kentucky, they're on the 7th of October. There's an online showing of that stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Then we have another film that's about to come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nocturne.
Written by that guy right there.
Yeah, I'm the writer's there.
Did I
So
select it?
I played in it opposite Macedonia Parks, and Ken directed it and edited the shit out of it. Whole bunch of really good stuff, and I'll submit that to a few film festivals and see what happens there.
I think it'll do well. I mean, I'm sure it'll get into a
I
couple.
don't think it's getting into Lexington.
Nothing.
Maybe
There was
Houston.
100. I think it might get into Lexington one. I think Double Brothers is a different film.
Yeah, you might have to submit it. I don't know if they're gonna like me very much.
I thought it was great.
Oh, I think it's great
think
too. I just don't
there's-
know if I burned that bridge.
There's it's a heightened state of reality. I don't know. Film festivals, they change leadership faster than the speeding bullet. So
Oh,
I don't think I have anything to worry about.
That's good. Ember says that she was in a music video that dropped on Saturday. What was the
Nice.
music video? But yeah, had some bourbon, had some hangouts. All right, go to bed,
Keep
sir.
us posted on your meetups in LA. I think that sounds cool.
She says, "You burning bridges?" Nah. Yeah. No, I'll definitely do that. If you go to Meetup, and look for DreadLore, then you'll see it. DreadLore Enclave. So that'll be on there.
All
All right.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.